on, folks? Negroes, that's right, live and in color. How are you? This is the Doug Wright Show, the return of the Doug Wright Show on a regular basis. Dear goodness, it's good to see your faces. All right, folks, the road to Goshen behind me. I hope that last video you did see. I hope you like the new digs, the new background, the new lighting. We are going to go through some information today that concludes a two-book series regarding the books of Adam and Eve. Now, the second book of Adam and Eve is called the Apocalypse of Moses. Now, just to do a brief recap, coming back from Elko, the trip itself was amazing. I mean, the scenery, the peacefulness, the ability to concentrate, reflect. This is what I believe I was meant to do, to teach this kind of information, not necessarily to preach, because I'm not a preacher. I am just a teacher. And so I intend to full-time this yet again, which is why it gives me the onus, I believe, to ask for your support. And I've also determined that if I'm going to ask for your support, I'm going to do it face to face so you can see my eyes and see the seriousness with which I present my case. Now, first, the trip was 1,500 miles. I did 24 hours of driving in 3 days, which is, I think, pretty good for 59 years old. I went down there. I found out a lot. I kept up with the news. We're in a worse position than the day I started, which was just 4 days ago. We're closer to the precipice of annihilation brought about by some ungodly creation that we call caucasity. And that caucasity it's there for everyone to see now. I think it's in plain sight. So what this trip did do for me was organize all the resources I had to get further and smell better if need be, and in the company of my wife of 21 years, who was glad to have me back. And that's just that. Now, I've got everything collected for this journey that may have been the purpose. I don't know. But in the case that we get called away, I'll be ready to go. All right. So that being said, this particular piece of PDF, and please remember, folks, I do the PDF donation thing. I still do it. And if you wanted some PDFs, I could send you not only the price list, the donation price list, as well as the list of PDFs that I've had. You can also find that list on some past shows. You look down below right there, and you can just email me. Let me know which PDFs you may want. I'm going to give a preview of the PDFs that I have at the end of this reading. It's going to be a long reading. I got my coffee. I got water somewhere, something to drink. I got, this is nice environment. I thank again all those that contributed to the effort of Goshen. It was a great trip. It was disappointing in that I was not able to access the land, but I'm not going to look at the glass half empty. I will look at it as half full. My job is to try to fill it up the rest of the way. Like, subscribe, share. For goodness sake, you guys do what it says down there. I don't know if they give you notification of my lives, but now that I'm going to be face to face, now I'm going to be doing this from this place. And also doing my phone giveaways. That is how I make a living, and I can still assent that I'll keep asking for you to keep giving. I don't know. I tried to go somewhere with that. Anyway, let's get to this. Now, I've had some positive playback on the first book of Adam and Eve. And it is an interesting read. Now, what I've done in the past is I've not gone too far into the reading. I just want to make sure how much reading I might have to do, but I've not gone into the reading, so I've not prepared for you. I want to be as, I guess, spontaneous in my reaction to what we read. Now, these are apocryphal writings. These are writings that are not included in what they call canon. And canon, for me, is just another word for white folks tell you what's what. And white folks don't tell me what's what anymore. I have somehow been able to crawl from beneath the veil of deceit, and I'm trying to make sure my education is complete. But here, this particular piece of apocryphal writing, the Apocalypse of Moses, is the second in the two-part book series of the book of Adam and Eve. Now, there are other books that you may not know about involving the life of Jesus or Yeshua or whatever you may be comfortable calling. And it's since it's written under those pseudonyms, if you will. And there's some interesting childhood involving Yahusha's Yahusha. I'm trying to figure out what we're supposed to pronounce his name. It'll get straightened out when the Most High gets here. The kingdom is coming. I know that you know this. Anyway, hopefully you can see what I see, and it does say the Apocalypse of Moses. So that being said, let me give it full attention. The Apocalypse of Moses, chapter 1. Now, this is how this story begun. Here we go. This is the story of Adam and Eve after they had gone out of paradise. And Adam knew his wife, Eve, and went upward to the sun rising and abide there 18 years and 2 months. And Eve conceived and bare two sons, Adiophilus, who is called Cain, and Amalebes, who is called Abel. Well, now I had not heard of those names before. Straighten out my hat here. I was getting close in to read it. But that seems a bit interesting. Adiophilus, or Adisphotos, whatever. It's Greek. It's whatever. It's their language, called Cain, and Amalebes, who is called Abel. Now, I don't know about you. I did not know that these names may have been changed in this book, but that's interesting as it is. Let's continue. And after this, Adam and Eve were with one another. And while they were sleeping, Eve said to Adam, her Lord, my Lord Adam, behold, I have seen in a dream this night the blood of my son. I don't really like that word. Amalebes, who is styled Abel, being poured into the mouth of Cain his brother. And he went on drinking it without pity, but he begged him to leave him a little of it. Yet he hearkened not to him, but gulped down the whole, nor did it stay in his stomach. It came out of his mouth. And Adam said, let us arise and go see what has happened to them. I fear lest the adversary may be assailing them somewhere. Now that is an interesting insight. First, I think it gives you insight into, they knew about the adversary. They also knew that Cain and Abel were having some problems because this had to be something that was going on in the household. I mean, it had to be something. The reason I say that is because the structure through which Adam says what he says gives you indication that this had been something that had been an interplay. And if we parallel that to what we see in Scripture, we see that Cain and Abel had some issues. Abel was hated by Cain. Cain felt Abel's sacrifice to the Most High was of more value. And as it turns, it may have been because it had life's blood as opposed to Cain's value being lessened because there was no life's blood. And also, he did not offer the first fruits of whatever he grew. So now we have that background story, and we can now juxtapose it to what we read in this story. Eve having dreams about it, it just says that it was on her mind. I mean, it may have been a dream of revelation. It may have been placed there by the Most High. We don't know. But the inference is that it was more likely placed by the Most High as a result of it being something of contention in their household, knowing those folks. And let's remember, both of those gentlemen had a large parcel of land far away from one another. They were doing their deal, and yet still that animosity maintained. And that is from the course of jealousy, which is the only envy, that the only sin I believe that can make you cause you to do harm to another person. Now let's continue. I don't want to wax on indefinitely, as you know I will, but we have so much more reading to do still. All right, here we go. And they both went and found Abel murdered by the hand of Cain his brother. And God said to Michael the archangel, say to Adam, reveal not the secret that thou knowest to Cain thy son, for he is a son of wrath. But grieve not, for I will give thee another son in his stead. He shall show to thee all that thou shalt do. Do thou tell him nothing. I'm waiting. Thus spake the archangel to Adam. But he kept the word in his heart, and with him also Eve, though they grieved concerning Abel and his son. Well, that's interesting. So he was instructed to say nothing and promised a replacement. I like this. Now, I'm just going to be reading so you guys can see. It just says chapter. So, as I understand it, there are about 20 pages to read. There were 20 pages to read in the first book. I'm assuming there are 20 pages to read here. I'll try to get through it, narrate it as best I can, and I appreciate your patience. Remember, this is the Doug Rice Show. I am Doug Rice. This is back in the saddle without any rattle. Me at it again, folks. And you're going to see me here on the regular. I'm going to be doing these educational PDF presentations as I have determined myself a self-proclaimed teacher. And you know what? If I'm going to ask you for support, I'm going to do it face to face. That's right, because nothing else has really worked. Let's just move on. Like, subscribe, share. We're going through the Apocalypse of Moses, which is the second book of Adam and Eve. We're going chapter by chapter. Please don't leave. Oh, that was good. I like that. Yeah. And after this, Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bare Seth. And Adam said to Eve, see, we have gotten a son in place of Abel, who Cain slew. Let us give glory and sacrifice to God. Well, let you do that then. Again, reinforcing what we know is in scriptural, knowing the same kind of context, the same kind of telling. Also look for the same kind of writing structure. Now, I fancy myself an etymologist, etymologist. I don't want to study bugs, but entomologist, no, that's study of bugs. So an etymologist, that's study of kind of language. But I deal with structure, cadence, inflection, voice inflection. You guys maybe don't know, I was a telemarketer for 35 years, telemarketing manager, telemarketing guru, telemarketing god, yes. I was a guy that called you at night. You didn't want to hang up the phone because you loved me so much. We'll not get into that. But the point is that if you can see the writing style is similar to that of Moses from the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, or the books that are in Hebrew called by another name, then you can kind of parallel and coincide the writing style and kind of get that it's the same person. Maybe not. I don't know. Who's to say? But I'm not. I will not allow some Greco-Roman Edomite to tell me what's canonical. You're not going to tell me what's what. I'm going to read it all, and then I'll determine what's what. Thank you so much. Haven't you folks determined enough? Okay, I'll stop. Let's get to the next chapter. I got 20 pages to read. Here we go. And Adam begat 30 sons and 30 daughters, and Adam lived 930 years. And he fell sick and cried out with a loud voice and said, let all my sons come to me, that I may see them before I die. And all assembled, for the earth was divided into three parts. Three parts, folks. We'll get into the fourth part later because I did a show about the fourth part. Anyway, and Seth, his son, said to him, Father Adam, what is thy complaint? And Seth, he saith, my children, I am crushed by the burden of trouble. And they said to him, what is trouble? What do you mean, what is trouble? What do you mean? What are you talking about? What is trouble? What do you mean, what's trouble? What do you mean, what's trouble? That tells us something. It tells us that they were not accustomed to problems. They weren't accustomed to trouble. Give you an insight, they weren't even accustomed to illness and death. In fact, first death that they experienced, because we know, Cain slew Abel, and then Abel afterwards, it wasn't around when they had more children, I think 30 apiece. So they didn't know about that. So this trouble begins another conversation that we will get into. This is the Doug Rice Show. I'm Doug Rice. Just go ahead and Like, subscribe, share. I'll shave it another time, and there it is there. Doggone it, I drove for miles. Continuing. Here we go. And Seth answered and said to him, Hast thou called to mind, Father, the fruit of paradise of which thou usest to eat, and hast been grieved and yearning for it? If this be so, tell me, and I will go and bring thee fruit from paradise. For I will set dung upon my head and weep and pray that the Lord will hearken to me, and send his angel and bring me a plant from paradise. And I will bring it to thee, that thy trouble may cease from thee. Adam said to him, Nay, my son Seth, but I have much sickness and trouble. Seth said to him, And how hath this come upon thee? Again, interesting insight. Totally just unaware of illness and trouble and problems. So can you imagine Seth and his siblings, any of them having children? This puzzled them, more likely put not a fear of maybe in their own hearts, but they thought for their children. And he gathered all of them together. If you remember, it read that he gathered all of these children together feeling this trouble. Also note that they knew about paradise. They knew about paradise. They knew that there would be some sort of ritual that would require accessibility to that paradise. Dung on the head, okay, you want to put that on your head, that's fine. I didn't realize that might be a procedure, but let's move on. And asking an angel to give just the plant. So not the fruit, just the plant. Consume the plant. So these were the hopes of cure Adam had offered to him by son Seth, but Adam stopped Seth and said, "Hey, don't waste your time. This is a wrap." Okay? All right? Let's continue. And Adam said to him, When God made us, me and your mother, whom also I die. Wait, yes. And Adam said to him, When God made us, me and your mother, through whom also I die, he gave us power to eat of every tree which is in paradise. But concerning that one only, he charged us not to eat of it, and through this one we are to die. And the hour drew nigh for the angels who were guarding your mother to go up and worship the Lord, and I was far from her. And the enemy knew that she was alone and gave to her, and she ate of the tree of which she had been told not to eat. Then she gave also to me to eat. Well, 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 do tell. So what are we looking at? What are we saying? We're saying it parallels with what we are told in the first 5 books in Torah. We know that now. This is so parallel. I've done some research as to the origins of this book. I chose not to get into that because there's a control mechanism that is being used to even disseminate the truth to people, parcel by parcel. They leave a tinge of doubt and a tinge of question just so that you don't take too seriously or to heart what you're reading. But I doubt that there is any kind of falsehood in what we're reading. I sense the sameness of Moses' writing and hope maybe whatever you get out of this, maybe you do too. To me, when he points out certain things like, the act of Satan tempting Eve, getting into more detail into what occurred and telling it from another viewpoint or standpoint, very interesting. And we're going to get deeper into this as we go. So, this is the Doug Rice Show. Like, subscribe, share. Please support the Doug Rice Show through Cash App. It's just Cash App sign, $ Doug Rice Show, the Doug Rice Show. Very simple. And you'll see me regularly doing this between going out and handing out government phones, which I think is a very rewarding way to make a living. I'll talk more about that later, but let's continue. Here we go. Now, here we go. And God was wroth with us. Let me make sure I got it right here. Okay, yes. We're at chapter, what looks to be 8. And God was wroth with us, and the Lord came into paradise and called me in a terrible voice and said, Adam, where art thou? A terrible voice, interesting. And why hidest thou from my face? Shall the house be able to hide itself from its builder? And he saith to me, Since thou hast abandoned my covenant, I have brought upon thy body 72 strokes. The trouble of the first stroke is a pain of the eyes, the second stroke, an affection of the hearing, and likewise in turn, all the strokes shall befall thee. Now, without coming back on, let me tell you, that's interesting. Just because I got to get kind of closer to read it and about a camera angle. So the Creator promised Adam 72 strokes, the first of which would be a stroke of is a pain of the eyes. You kind of wonder what the Creator is talking about when it talks about pain of the eyes. Apologies. And you you wonder what kind of malady. Was it simply a failing of the eyes? Did the Creator give to Adam a forewarning of what might hurt or what might grow dim? As I've grown older, I'm 59 now, and just had a recent Earth celebration. As I've grown older, I've realized that your eyes are kind of the first thing that dims and start to go, and then after that, but your hearing. And I got four eyes in the first place, so it's it's going to be I would say I'm just kind of surmising here, but it's interesting. 72 strokes, 72, and the numbers about the Creator and what He uses numbers to really verify, and consistently throughout Scripture you hear numbers like 10, 72, 12, and it continues parallel in this writing that Romans have determined are not canonical. So let's continue the book of Adam and Eve, part 2, the Apocalypse of Moses. I'm Doug Rice. Like, subscribe, and share. Let's continue. All right. As he said this to his sons, Adam groaned sore and said, What shall I do? I am in great distress. And Eve wept and said, My Lord Adam, rise up and give me half of thy trouble, and I will endure it. For it is on my account that this hath happened to thee. On my account thou art beset with toils and troubles. But Adam said to Eve, Arise and go with my son Seth near to paradise, and put earth upon your heads, and weep and pray God to have mercy upon me, and send his angel to paradise, and give me of the tree out of which the oil floweth, and bring it to me, and I shall anoint myself, and shall have rest from my complaint. So, very interesting there. And this is chapter 9. So we first have Eve offering to take half of the ailment of Adam because she confesses or admits that the fault lies with her, the deception, but the fault truly lies with the intent of the deceiver, Satan, the fallen, the chief principal one of darkness. It is he that determined to approach Eve at this particular moment when she was most vulnerable. As we can remember from the last reading, the angels that protected both Adam and Eve had their own spiritual requirement. And just reflecting back to that book, their own spiritual requirement was that they go do their homage and worship to the Most High. And so Satan took that time to approach the weaker vessel, the vessel that Adam had extracted from his own person and taught the rules, knowing what they were. Satan actually confirmed that, I think, to verify she knew what was going on, and then deceived her. So though she took a lot of blame, though she took responsibility, the true responsibility lies with that fallen angel who was once at the right hand of the Most High. So let's continue. And remember, folks, this is the second book of Adam and Eve, the Apocalypse of Moses. It is an apocryphal reading, as stated by those who claim to be the authority and tell us exactly who's who and what's what. I don't accept that authority. But let's continue with the reading. Then Seth and Eve went toward paradise, and Eve saw her son, and a wild beast assailing him. And Eve wept and said, Woe is me, if I come to the day of the resurrection, all those who have sinned will curse me, saying, Eve hath not kept the commandment of God. And she spoke to the beast, Thou wicked beast, fearest thou not to fight with, just letting it go here, the image of God? How was thy mouth open? How were thy teeth made strong? How didst not how didst thou not call to mind thy subjection? For long ago wast thou made subject to the image of God. Then the beast cried out and said, and I want to pause there for the cause there, because it gives you a backstory. And if we remember the reading of the book, the first book, it tells you that they instructed this right hand of God that to make homage at the image of God, and he complained. He said something about being existing before Adam, and Adam needing to bow down to him. So let's see what he says next, because this ought to be interesting. Chapter 11. It is not our concern, Eve, thy greed and thy wailing, but thine own, for it is from thee that the rule of the beasts have arisen. How is thy mouth open to eat of the tree concerning which God enjoined thee not to eat of it? On this account our nature also hath been transformed. Now therefore thou canst endure if I begin to reprove thee. So that is interesting. They met up with some beast, I suppose, that began to question Eve. And also, if you notice, he says there, on this account, our nature also has been transformed. What does that mean? The nature of things, all things who have rebelled against God being transformed into something lesser, which could be insightful as we continue. Let's continue on. Then Seth speaketh to the beast, Close thy mouth, and be silent, and stand off from the image of God until the day of judgment. Then saith the beast to Seth, Behold, I stand off from the image of God. And he went to his lair. Now that's very interesting. The image of God, it keeps referring to man, to those who descend from Adam, you and I, is the image of God. And that kind of plays into the command that we not create an image of the Most High. It's obvious that the image of the Most High has already been created, and to not create an image or bow down to it, because the image of God is obviously looks like us. Don't make an image and bow down to it. An image has already been made, but more than that, it's kind of redundant, and more likely it offends the Most High tremendously. All right, let's continue. All right, here we go. And Seth went with Eve near paradise, and they wept there, and prayed God send his angel and give them the oil of mercy. Now, I wonder what the oil of mercy is, but these are things that they've kept from us. And God sent the archangel Michael, okay, and he spoke to Seth. Seth, man of God, weary not thyself with prayers and entreaties concerning the tree which floweth with oil to anoint thy father Adam. For it shall not be thine now, but in the end of times. Then shall all flesh be raised up from Adam till that great day, all that shall be of the holy people. Then shall the delights of paradise be given to them, and God shall be in their midst. And they shall no longer sin before his face, and the evil heart shall be taken from them. And there shall be given them a heart understanding the good and to serve God only. But do thou go back to thy father, for the term of his life hath been fulfilled, and he will live 3 days from today, and he will die. But when his soul is departing, thou shalt behold the awful scene of his passing. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Just had a little bit of a coughing spell there. Next page. Okay, so that's an interesting insight. Let me go back to that real quick. Wow, they're telling Seth, they're letting him know it's over. They're letting him know that there's going to be a future that will be enjoyed by the future progeny and descendants of Adam and Eve. But unfortunately, the time for Adam is over. And then, not only that, they've also said that they're going to have a passing event. So that's going to be an interesting occurrence, and I'm eager to figure out what they're talking about. Let me go back to the page we need to be on, and let's continue. All right. Thus spake the angel and departed from them. And Seth and Eve came to the hut where Adam was laid. And Adam saith to Eve, Eve, what hast thou wrought in us? Thou hast brought upon us great wrath, which is death, lording it all lording it over all our race. And he said to her, call all our children and our children's children and tell them the manner of our transgression. Wow. So this caused a stir in the earthly creation. And I want to edify a few things here because I think it's important you understand. The earth is different from heaven. The paradise is different from heaven. So what we saw in the first reading is that they were sent from paradise, Eden, to this earthly realm. But what's most important is that Satan was sent here first. And that's very interesting. Satan was sent here first because he refused to bow down before the image of the Most High, which was a man. And so he was relegated to this prison first, and then decided to wait at the perfect time when Eve was unprotected by the angel required that was not there, because that angel, along with Adam's angels, were required to pay their obedience to the Most High. And at that moment, Eve was at her weakest, and that's who he approaches. And so it's a it's an interesting parallel and gives much more insight into what occurred. And the details kind of jibe in perfect correlation to what we read in Torah. So let us continue the reading, trying to get as in depth as possible. Here we go. The Eve's account of her fall. So now we're going to read Eve's account, and here we go. Then saith Eve to them, hear all my children and children's children, and I will relate to you how the enemy deceived us. It befell that we were guarding paradise, each of us the portion allotted to us from God. Now I guarded in my lot the west and the south, but the devil went to Adam's lot, where the male creatures were. But God divided the creatures, all the males he gave to your father, all the females he gave to me. What? You need to stop. Now, folks, and I worship a God of order, a God of sanity. I don't worship a mad God. I don't worship a God that kills and discriminates, a God of reason, balance. This, to me, illustrates this kind of God. And why would he not do such a thing? Because it seems logical. Perhaps if anyone knows about the story of Lilith and another extremely apocryphal writing, it kind of gives credence to why he may have done this. Remember, Eve coming from man still was an individual, and having that individuality, the Creator certainly accommodated her. And so we see here they were accommodated different lands, they were accommodated different animals and creatures. Very, very interesting, and something that took me by surprise. Let's continue. And the devil spake to the serpent saying, Rise up, come to me, and I will tell thee a word whereby thou mayest have profit. And he rose and came to him. And the devil saith to him, I hear that thou art wiser than all the beasts, and I have come to counsel thee. Why dost thou eat of Adam's tares, and not of paradise? Rise up, and we will cause him to be cast out of paradise, even as we were cast out through him. The serpent said to him, I fear lest the Lord be wroth with me. The devil said to him, Fear not, only be my vessel, and I will speak through thy mouth words to deceive him. Well, that is interesting. So the devil, all right, mind blown, boom. The devil went to the serpent, which was supposed to be the wisest of all the animals, more likely the most cautious, more likely observing everything, not saying anything, I mean, who knows? And he had made a pact with the serpent. I'm trying to figure this out. How did he make a pact with the serpent? So obviously these creatures back then were of much more elevated stuff. They were made of something a bit different in that this kind of interaction could go on between Satan and a creature that is not a man, not a human. So that is interesting. I find that fascinating. Let me continue. I need to look in. All right. Interesting. And like, let me speak the words. So a collusion of sorts. Wow. Interesting. And instantly he hung himself from the wall of paradise, and when the angels ascended to worship him, then Satan appeared in the form of an angel and sang hymns like the angels. And I bent over the wall and saw him like an angel. But he said to me, Art thou Eve? And I said to him, I am. What art thou doing in paradise? And I said to him, God set us to guard and to eat of it. The devil answered through the mouth of the serpent, Ye do well, but ye do not eat of every plant. And I said, Yea, we will eat all, save one only, which is in the midst of paradise, concerning which God charged us not to eat of it. For he said to us, On the day on which ye eat of it, ye shall die the death. Ye shall die the death. Wow. Ye shall die the death. So Satan did a lot of checks and balances. Boy, let me tell you about some thoroughness, huh? Goodness gracious! First he wanted to pick the right time. Made an agreement with the cunningest animal in the entire kingdom, which is interesting. Which is a serpent. Then got to it. Got to the mechanism of deceit. He started questioning Eve. Spoke through the serpent. Logic, reasoning. Made sure she knew the rules. So it wasn't. It's interesting. All of this, remember, folks, what's rooted in this deception is the anger wrought on by envy or the determination to rebel. So remember that this approach of Eve to deceive her was anchored in an anger that he had been cast out of heaven. Notice that he sung the hymns of heaven, so she may have been deceived into thinking he was an angel not cast out. And so his motives were to put him in the place he was in. Remember, folks, misery loves company. Misery loves company, and now we know the origin of that sentiment. Let's continue. Here we go. Oh, like, subscribe, share, do all of this stuff. I'll put it down there. Then the serpent saith to me, My God, live. But I am grieved on your account, for I would not have you ignorant. But arise, come hither, hearken to me, and eat, and mind the value of that tree. But I said to him, I fear lest God be wroth with me as he told us. And he said to me, Fear not, for as soon as thou eatest of it, ye too shall be as God, in that ye shall know good and evil. But God perceived this, that ye would be like him. So he envied you, and said, Ye shall not eat of it. Nay, do thou give heed to the plant of thou wilt see its glory. Yet I feared to take of the fruit. And he saith to me, Come hither, I will give it to thee. Follow me. Okay, so a little bit of addition there. First, it's interesting. He claims that God would be jealous of his creation, which is absolute idiocy. You can understand why he went to the woman. I thought immediately upon him saying that, how would the creator be jealous of his creation? Why would he be jealous of me knowing what he knows? That doesn't make too much sense to me. But it is the sense of a serpent. It is the sense that he had. It's the sense he wanted to impart on us because of his position. Remember, he did this pretending to be an angel. He did this from a fallen position. He did this from the position of him being relegated to the earth. And he wanted Eve and Adam to also, and his offspring, to be relegated to the earth. And so this deep deception needed to be very cunning and wise, and it needed to use the kind of vernacular she may not have been accustomed to. And that's how the wool was pulled over her eyes. Well, let's continue, folks. And I opened to him, and he walked a little way, then turned and said to me, I've changed my mind, and I will not give thee to eat until thou swear to me to give also to thy husband. Hold up, wait. Conditions? Wait, that's the takeaway close. Now, folks, I told you I've been in telemarketing 35 years, and I recognize the takeaway close all day long. She took the steps toward him a little bit, which indicated she had given into her interest in her, and she was interested at least in seeing what was being offered. But before he got just a few feet, he stops and I changed my mind. Now, he did this because she knew at this point she wanted it and needed that condition of being offered to her husband to seal the deal he was looking to close. Let's continue, folks. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yet, and I said, what sort of oath shall I swear to thee? Yet what I know I say to thee. By the throne of the master and by the cherubim and by the tree of life I will give also to my husband to eat. And when he had received the oath from me, he went and poured upon the fruit the poison of his wickedness, which is lust, the root and beginning of every sin. And he bent the branch on the earth, and I took of the tree and I ate. Okay, folks, everybody knows what I'm envisioning. Everybody knows what I'm envisioning. Everybody's envisioning Sleeping Beauty. What did the woman do? The witch did. The witch took an apple and put a spell upon the apple and then handed it to. So now the origins of these fantasies that these folks put on screen for your children to whine about seeing over and over again, we know where they come from, how dastardly this being. So whatever was in the tree, I don't know that Eve even got a chance to experience it, because the overlay of evil upon the very fruit received was the first more likely thing she wrought, and that itself was tainted with what they said was lust, the very beginning of all sin. Lust is a veiled form of envy, a want, very, very interesting. And again, these are things that they take from the Apocrypha, claiming that it is not canonical, but it seems these kind of details would be interesting to include, and I don't understand how they hurt being included, but let's continue. All right. Oh, let me get to the next page really quick here. And in that very hour my eyes were opened, and forthwith I knew that I was bare of the righteousness which I had been clothed upon. And I wept and said to him, why hast thou done this to me? Is in that thou hast deprived me of the glory with which I was clothed. But I wept also about the oath which I had sworn. But he descended from the tree and vanished, and I began to seek in my nakedness in my part for leave to hide my shame. And I found none. For as soon as I had eaten, the leaves showered down from all the trees in my part, except the fig tree only. But I took leaves from it and made for myself a girdle, and it was from the very same plant of which I had eaten. Whoa! Well, isn't that interesting? So it wasn't an apple, it was a fig tree. And if it wasn't even a fig, it was whatever he parlayed on the fig before she ate it. I mean, this is just details. Folks, look, I do this because, well, I love you all. All right. And as much as I love you all, I would love if all of you just took a little bit of time and decided that you wanted to support this effort by giving to what you see down there, scrolling through the ticker tape parade. My name's Doug Rice, Doug Rice Show. How you doing? I'm back. I'm going to be in your face like this as long as I can maintain this. And of course, since I'm giving, and I am giving, I hope that you give. Damn it, I need it. I got to get these brakes changed. I got to give out the free phones. You'll never know the experience of giving somebody a way to communicate with family and friends that they haven't talked to in months, maybe even years. And I give away free phones. Now, I don't charge an activation fee. And the only way I don't do that is that if I maintain the kind of support on this end of my life. Otherwise, I'm going to be charging that Tetcom activation fee. You've seen them do it yourself. That's an option. It's one I don't want to take, but one I will. Until then, I'm going to beg still. I'm just joking. We're going over Adam and Eve, Book 2. My name's Doug Rice. Welcome to the Doug Rice Show. We're going to continue. I got, 27 pages. I got, 13 pages left or whatever it is. I don't know. Math. It's like, subscribe, share, give to the edifice you see down there. Look at it scroll. Look at it roll. My goodness, you think I'd have stole? No, I didn't. All right. Yeah, tune in, like, subscribe. Thanks for doing that. The notification bell don't work, so you know the drill. We are going over this publication. It is an awesome, awesome publication. The Books of Adam and Eve, Book 2, the Apocalypse of Moses. That's right. I remembered it. My name's Doug Rice. And you're going to see my face here like this from now on as long as I can keep going strong. $ Doug Rice, The Doug Rice Show. $ I can ask now. I feel entitled to ask for support. What? What? Everybody else does it, right? Hey, let's get back to it. Plus, I'm entertaining as hell. You know I'm entertaining. You love me. All right, let's do it. All right, what we got next? Thanks for that. What is that? Is that my? I think that was my plug. That's my plug. All right, cool. All right, so what do we got here? Boom, 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 boom. Right. And I cried out in that very hour, Adam, Adam, where art thou? Ooh, Adam, Adam, wherefore art thou? Adam, I don't know where they're getting this stuff. Rise up, come to me, and I will show thee a great secret. And when your father came, I spake to him words of transgression, which have brought us down from our great glory. And when he came, I opened my mouth, and the devil was speaking. And I began to exhort him, and said, Come hither, my lord Adam, hearken to me, and eat of the fruit of the tree which God told us not to eat of it, and thou shalt be as a God. And your father answered and said, I fear, lest God fear not. For as soon as thou hast eaten, thou shalt know good and evil. And speedily I pursued him. Let's remember that. Speedily I pursued him, and he ate. Speedily I pursued him. And straightway his eyes were opened, and he too knew his nakedness. And to me he saith, O wicked woman, O wicked woman, what have I done to thee that thou hast depraved me of the glory of God? Now, it's an interesting revelation and an evocation to see that Adam asked the same question that Eve asked of Satan. And also, her pursuing him tells me she turned into what some of us deal with. Brothers and sisters know the sisters, and sisters and brothers know the brothers that we speak about, because those same affects are in both sexes. But in this particular example, I'm just looking at what she said there. She speedily pursued him. What does that mean? What does that mean? You know what it means, man. She dogged him. She had this knowledge now, and she turned it up. She got turned up. She probably dogged him. He said, wait a minute, man. I want God to be, look, man, eat this, man. That's probably what happened. Now, eat this. I think that's what happened. Eat this and you ain't getting none of it. I don't want to go there, but who knows what kind of negotiation tactic she used. Let's continue. All right, here we go. And in that same hour we heard the archangel Michael blowing his trumpet and calling to the angels and saying, Thus saith the Lord, come with me to paradise and hear the judgment which I shall judge Adam. Whoa. And when God appeared in paradise, mounted on, get there, Mhm. The chariot of his cherubim, with the angels proceeding before him and singing hymns of praises. All the plants of paradise, both of your father's lot and mine, broke out into flowers, and the throne of God was fixed where the tree of life was. So, the tree of life that they were not permitted to eat of was now seated with the throne of God atop it. All of the flowers and the bloom. Well, I mean, Most High is showing up. You better show out. Remember, and I think I learned this from one of the Sister Deborah, or it was Brother Teal, or Brother Yacoba, that the animals and plants truly worship the Most High. The animals and the plants truly or have knowledge. You ever look at a cat or a dog? You know, you look at a cat or a dog, you understand God. You know God exists. I know you do. Look, cats know something. I've been around a couple of cats for the last few months. Let me tell you something. They're on a different plane of okay, let me stop drifting. Let's continue. Give to this so that I don't lose my mind. Here we go. Okay. And God called Adam, saying, Adam, where art thou? Another. Can the house be hidden from the presence of its builder? Then your father answered, It is not because we think not to be found by thee, Lord, that we hide, but I was afraid because I am naked, and I was ashamed before thy might, my master. God said to him, Who showed thee that thou art naked, unless thou hast forsaken my commandment, which I delivered thou to keep it? That sounds like a brother. It does. That's what you mean. Wow. Then Adam called to mind the word which I spake to him, saying, I will make thee secure before God. And he turned and said to me, Why hast thou done this? And I said, The serpent deceived me. I mean, there's enough blame to go around for everybody. The serpent deceived me. Of course he did. Of course he did. The serpent was relegated to this earthly plane because he refused to worship the image of the Most High God, which was in Adam and Eve. And as such, his relegation caused within him a need for company, because misery loves company. Yeah, it does. He couldn't wait. And it's just a plot and a plan. And man, oh man. But let's see what happens, because the end result of this is going to shock you, I'm sure. All right. So God said to Adam, saith to Adam, Since thou hast disregarded my commandment and hast hearkened to thy wife, cursed is the earth in thy labors. Thou shalt work it, and it shall not give its strength. Thorns and thistles shall spring up for thee, and in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat thy bread. Thou shalt be in manifold toils. Thou shalt be crushed by bitterness, but of sweetness thou shalt not taste. Weary shalt thou be and shalt not rest. By heat shalt thou be tired, by cold shalt thou be straitened. Abundantly shalt thou busy thyself, and thou shalt not be rich. And thou shalt grow fat and come to no end. The beasts over whom thou didst rule shall rise up in rebellion against thee, and thou hast not kept my commandment. So he rolled down all the what's happening and just kind of buttoned it with the reason is because you didn't keep the commandment. You didn't give me the simple commandment. So now, the obligation of man is what? Love your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. Keep the commandments. Treat others as you wish to be treated. So keeping the commandment was a central theme and has been throughout the existence of creation. And that commandment, breaking it, is what will earn you these kinds of things. Now, I do want to mention here, he started talking about toil and earth not giving and all of these things. As I've said before, paradise is one place, the earth is another place. Now, I don't know if the intersection between the two is freely crossed, but I know that, when Satan refused to worship the image of the Most High, you can imagine that Adam and Eve, who had common knowledge of these spirit creatures, saw that Satan did not acquiesce to the command of the Most High, and Michael himself, who we know to be Yeshua, Yeah, yeah, you know who I'm talking about, Jesus. He was also commanded, you're going to bow before the image of God. And if you look back to my first video, what did it say? I'm not bowing down. It didn't bow down to him. You should bow down before me. I've been allowed before him. What are you talking about? And he got relegated to earth. So earth, and as above, so below, we can imagine there had to be parallels. In every respect, there were parallels. Obviously, Adam existed at a higher dimension, and they were in the lower reflection somewhere here. And the reason we know that is because they traveled from paradise to here. And so the Creator spoke of the, in my assertion, these animals that he talked about not anymore under his subjection and rebelling against him. Adam knew the animals in paradise. Perhaps the Creator didn't tell him, guess what? You'll be going down there while you're at it, where I put Satan. Could have been in Adam's mind that the Most High was talking about the animals in paradise. But in fact, the Creator is telling him, guess what? I'm not even telling you yet, but you're going down. It's like, and everything paralyzed. It's like AAA ball against the ball players. Yeah, sorry, I got to send you down. And send you down. Can't be in the show. That kind of stuff. I am back. Okay, let's continue. Doug Wright Show, welcome. Books of the Adam and Eve, Part 2. This is the Apocalypse of Moses. We'll get through this together, folks. And the Lord turned to me and said, since thou hast hearkened to the serpent and turned a deaf ear to my commandment, thou shalt be in the throes of travail and intolerable agonies. Thou shalt bear children in much trembling, and in 1 hour thou shalt come to the birth and lose thy life from thy sore trouble and anguish. But thou shalt confess and say, Lord, Lord, save me, and I will turn no more to the sin of the flesh. And on this account, from thine own words I will judge thee by reason of the enmity which the enemy has planted in thee. Oh, I need you to understand, Satan gave us a piece of himself. Satan gave us a piece of himself. He planted within the flesh enmity between God. You remember that it talked about him parlaying something over the fruit that now we hear is a fig that he gave to Eve. And in that there he infused the most common of all sins, lust. And so a piece of Satan has now suddenly been infused in the creation of human beings. I find it fascinating. All right, let's continue. But he turned to the serpent in great wrath and said, since thou hast done this, and become a thankless vessel, until thou hast deceived the innocent hearts, accursed art thou among all beasts. Remember, he's talking to the serpent. He's not talking to Satan, talking to serpent, different people, different individuals. Thou shalt be deprived of the victual of which thou didst eat, the food. And thou shalt feed on dust all the days of thy life. On thy breast and thy belly thou shalt walk, and be robbed of hands and feet. What did that just say? Wow. There shall not be left thee ear, nor wing, nor one limb of all that which thou didst ensnare them in thy malice, and cause them to be cast out of paradise. And I will put enmity between thee and his seed, and she shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel until the day of judgment. Almost a verse by verse quote of what was decreed in Genesis, with the exception of finding out that the personage of the serpent is totally different. So the snake, if you will, used in other various parts of the scripture, we know snake was used in Moses' time to heal people. The snake was used, cast down, his staff became a snake. But the presence of a snake intimates that there was a totally different creature that had hands and feet, and was used those hands and feet to get the food that he ensnared. And God robbed him of all of that. I mean, you consider relegating a creature that must have looked kind of amazing to now just a cylinder creature with no hands, no feet, eating dust all day. You know he's mad. I mean, every time a snake gets your chance, he's gonna bite it, man. I'm thinking. Now I know what's going on. Every time a snake see you, he's gonna try to bite you. Man, that's something else, isn't it? Let's continue. All right. uh, uh, chapter, and that is chapter 27. Thus he spake and bade the angels have us cast out of paradise. And as we were being driven out amid our loud lamentations, no, don't do it. Your father Adam besought the angels and said, leave me a little space that I may entreat the Lord that he have compassion on me and pity me, for I only have sinned. For I only have sinned. And they left off driving him, and Adam cried aloud and wept, saying, pardon me, O Lord, my deed. Then the Lord saith to the angels, why have ye ceased from driving Adam from paradise? Whoa! Why do you not cast him out? Is it I who have done wrong? Or is my judgment badly judged? Then the angels fell down on the ground and worshiped the Lord, saying, thou art just, O Lord, thou judgest righteous judgment. Oh, is that what Adam? Did you see that little move? Oh, so I want you to picture this. Adam and Eve getting really out to, Lamentations is wailing and crying and what's up, right? And the angels are driving them out, right? You know the angels are, get us go. You know, brothers and sisters, let's go, partner. You got to go, partner. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here, dog. 4 and 5. Let's go. You know. And so Adam said, and he said, look, man, do something. So what happened is the angel stopped. And God had to show up. Yahweh showed up and checked. Whoa. Why aren't you driving in? What's happening? Why are they still here? Oh, well, we thought that you thought. Man, I said, get them out here, man. Oh, you got it. Sorry about that. Let's go. That's interesting. Folks, that's interesting. That's something we do. That's something we do, and that's how we react. I can imagine the Most High looking down on what's that dude sticking so long? I told them to have them out by 4, 5. Well, this is like 8. What's happening? Interesting. I like that. I drift. Continuing. Next page. Yep. 10 more to go. You'll be fine. But the Lord turned to Adam and said, I will not suffer thee henceforward to be in paradise. And Adam answered and said, grant me, O Lord, of the tree of life that I may eat it before I be cast out. Then the Lord spake to Adam, thou shalt not take it of it now, for I have commanded the cherubim with the flaming sword that turneth every way to guard it from thee, that thou taste not of it. But thou hast the war which the adversary hath put into thee. Wow, listen to that. Thou hast the war which the adversary hath put into thee. Yet when thou art gone out of paradise, if thou shouldst keep thyself from all evil, as one about to die, when again the resurrection hath come to pass, I will rise thee up, and then there shall be given the tree of life. Well, isn't that interesting? And I didn't mean to look over at God after the angels going, well, we didn't mean to, we just taking a break. He said, what is it? It was my fault? Did I do something wrong? That was the last chapter. I didn't want that to escape your notice. That God's, whoa. I didn't break the rules. Get them out of here. And this, that's why I say we deal with a God of reason. This seems so reasonable. He's already made plans to help you out, but you're going to die first. That's just a wrap. You have to die, dog. You disobeyed the rules. You're going to have to pay the penalty, but I'm going to be there when you die, and I'll get you tree of life at that point. That is comforting to know that the Creator thought so far in advance, and he gets into more detail, a little bit more detail. All right, let's continue. Thus spake the Lord and ordered us to be cast out of paradise. But your father Adam wept before the angels opposite paradise, and the angels said to him, what wouldest thou have us to do, Adam? And your father said to them, behold, ye cast me out. I pray you, allow me to take away a fragment of herbs from paradise, that I may offer an offering to God, and I have gone out of paradise that he hear me. And the angels approached God and said, Jael, eternal king, command my Lord that there be given to Adam incense of sweet odor from paradise and seeds for his food. And God bade Adam go in and take sweet spices and fragrant herbs from paradise and seeds for his food. And the angels let him go in, and he took four kinds, crocus and nard and calamus and cinnamon and the other seeds for his food. And after taking these, he went out of paradise, and we were on the earth. I want you to remake that. You see what that says? Went out of paradise, and we were on the earth. And what did he do? He took some of the seeds from paradise, took them to the earth. We know that stuff's gone. It's got to be gone. Can't be anything left. But listen to this. So if you took seeds from paradise and planted those seeds somewhere on the earth, it would then, of course, be a mistaken impact that that is paradise, which it was not. Very, very interesting. And also, I love the fact that God can be reasoned with. And the angels got a soft spot for us. They do. They do. Y'all can talk about it all you want. The angels got a soft spot for human beings. Because that's twice now. It's the first time they driving around over there. Man, hey, man, you know, I feel you. I'm leaving. I want y'all to see what you can do. You know, and also, I'll wait here, see if you can do something. And that's when God said, what you doing? I ain't saying I ain't do that. And then and even after that, it's like they're still being pushed out. You got Adam, like, hey, let me take some seeds, something, look, man. And they stopped and they said, hold up. Hey, Adam wants to, and was real respectful about it. Real respectful in approaching God to ask him. Well, you knew it wasn't going to end. God knew they had a soft spot because God has a soft spot for us. So why wouldn't the angels that serve him have a soft spot for us? You know, when you a Negro get to begging, yeah, anything's liable to happen. Please give to the Doug Rice Show. I tried to work it in. Who knows? Next chapter. And remember that last word there, it says, and they were on the earth. That tells you paradise is different. Here we go. Chapter 30. Now then, my children, I have shown you the way in which we were deceived. And do ye guard yourselves from transgression against the good. Oh, really? Wow. That is something. You know, that's almost like, yeah, well, okay, was that an actual chapter? Oh my goodness. Did you see that? That was a chapter, folks. That was a chapter. That wasn't a misprint. That's the chapter. Chapter 30 is all right. There you go. You going? Okay. Yeah, you take it easy now. Boy, they ain't gonna make it, huh? That's exactly what that chapter is about. Literally, oh man, y'all be good. You got the seed, you got four, right? You took this, you good? All right, now you have a good day. Bye bye. Be good. Ooh. That's a chapter. Remember that. That's chapter 30. Be good. Next, let's continue. And when Eve had said this in the midst of her sons, while Adam was laying ill and bound to die after a single day from the sickness which had fasted upon him, she saith to him, how is it that thou diest and I live? Or how long have I to live after thou art dead? Tell me. And Adam said to her, reck not of this, for thou tarriest not after me, but even both of us are to die together. Well, that's comforting. Thanks for that. Dang. And she shall lie in my place. But when I die, anoint me, and let no man touch me, till the angel of the Lord shall speak somewhat concerning me. For God will not forget me, but I will seek his own creature. And now arise rather and pray to God till I give up my spirit into his hands, who gave it to me. For we know not how we are to meet our Maker, whether he be wroth with us, or be merciful, and intent to pity and receive us. Now, folks, now, if you aren't understanding why they tried to keep this from the general public, because it gives you hope, and they didn't want you to have any hope. These Greco-Roman, Edomite, Catholic, barbarian, soulless, non-covenant creatures did not want you to understand that since the very beginning, God gave us hope. That he told Adam, hey, don't worry about it, we'll get you. You know, do this, do that. Yeah, relax, okay? And death was this the approach to this particular death because it was the first death. But look the pragmatism of the death and how he approached it and how he approached. I'm pretty sure Eve wasn't that struck that he said, "You're gonna die next to there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." What you think? What you think? You're gonna get away? I'm dying because of you. Not that he said that, but you know, it's something we might say. Let's continue. Here we go. Okay. And Eve rose up. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to get me a seat. Okay, I'm right. Vision of Eve. Okay. And Eve rose up and went outside and fell on the ground and began to say, I have sinned, O God, I have sinned. O God of all, I have sinned against thee. I have sinned against the elect angels. I have sinned against the cherubim. I have sinned against thy fearful and unshakable throne. I have sinned before thee, and all sin hath begun through my doing in the creation. Even thus prayed Eve on her knees, and behold, the angel of humanity. The angel of humanity came to her and raised her up and said, Rise up, Eve, from thy penitence. For behold, Adam thy husband hath gone out of his body. Rise up and behold his spirit borne aloft to his maker. Wow. So who's the angel of humanity? Why have we told about the angel of humanity? It may be Michael, the archangel, but the angel of humanity may not be Michael, the archangel. So that's interesting. And then invited Eve to get up and check out what was happening to Adam, because we know it's going to happen to you too. So let's continue. This is getting good. Here we go. All right. And Eve rose up and wiped off her tears with her hand, and the angel saith to her, Lift up thyself from the earth. And she gazed steadfastly into heaven, and beheld a chariot of light, borne by 4 bright eagles. And it were impossible for any man born of woman to tell the glory of them or behold their face. And the angels going before the chariot, and when they came to the place where your father Adam was, the chariot halted, and the seraphim. And I beheld golden censers between your father and the chariot. And all the angels with censers and frankincense came in haste to the incense offering and blew upon it, and the smoke of the incense veiled the firmaments. And the angels fell down and worshipped God, crying aloud, saying, Jael, Holy One, have pardon, for he is thy image and the work of thy holy hands. So understand the importance that the position Adam held in being chiseled or created by the hand of God in his image. It's the reason the angels get a soft spot for us, because they look at us and they see the Most High. And they even remind the Most High that this is a making of thine own hands and thine own image. It's important that we understand why all of this is happening, why we're in the position we're in now, why the synagogue of Satan is so prescient, so prevalent right now. Because this information, when you use the connective tissue to understand what happened here, you'll understand why what's so deeply entrenched there is where it is. Let's continue. We don't have too much longer to go. And I, Eve, beheld 2 great and fearful wonders standing in the presence of God, and I wept for fear. And I cried aloud to my son Seth, and said, Rise up, Seth, from the body of thy father Adam, and come to me, and thou shalt see a spectacle which no man's eyes hath yet beheld. Wow. Wow, let's just continue. Then Seth arose and came to his mother, and to her he said, or saith, Why is thy trouble? What is thy trouble? Why weepest thou? And she said to him, Look up and see with thine eyes the 7 heavens opened, and see how the soul of thy father lies in its face. And all the holy angels are praying on his behalf and saying, Pardon him, Father of all, for he is thine image. Oh, my goodness. Pray, my child Seth, what shall this mean? And will he one day be delivered into the hands of the invisible Father, even our God? But who are the 2 Negroes who stand at the prayers for thy father, Adam? Okay, let's just slow things down. Wait. Now, I don't know about you, but they just asked who the 2 Negroes were. They were standing beside. Why do you think they suppressed this information, I wonder? Because that in itself is going to start happening. What do you mean, Negroes? You mean the folks we got enslaved? You mean the folks we suppressing? What are you talking about? What do you mean, Negro? What? No, you know what? For that one word, this book was suppressed. Say it! Don't lie. Too warm in here. For that one word, the book of Adam and Eve will have to be suppressed. What are you? Mind blowing! Mind blowing! Let's continue. This is mind blowing. Like, subscribe, share. We've got 8 more pages to read. This is a this is a review of the apocryphal books of Adam and Eve. Book number 2, the Apocalypse of Moses, supposedly decreed by Greco-Roman Edomite heathens, that this book was not canonical, that this book was of no account, that this book needed to, by some council of Trent, Nicaea, whatever, is somehow now unworthy of being considered. No, he's got Negroes in there. I wants to know about them Negroes, partner. I don't know what you talking about. Let's continue. I'm just saying. What's that about? Wow. Man, what is you talking, man? What? Pardon him, Father, for all his life. First he's begging. They like, please pardon him. And then, but who are the 2 Negroes who stand by at the prayers for the father Adam? Well, let's get that answered. And Seth tells his mother that they are the sun and moon, and themselves fall down and pray on behalf of my father Adam. So the 2 Negroes on the side are the sun and the moon. And you think this ain't coming to a close soon. I got news for you. I got news for you. What? Why they hide this? Why they hide this? Why'd you hide this? Hey, Pope, why'd you hide this shit? I said one curse word. I cannot. Let's continue. Here we go. Wow. And where is their light, and why have they taken on such a black appearance? Where is their light, and why have they taken on such a black appearance? Who are the 2 Negroes that sit over there? Who are those 2? Well, they're the sun and the moon. Why do they have appearance black? I don't know. You know, we shouldn't really keep this in the Bible. I think we should remove this. My God. And Seth answered her, the light hath not left them, but they cannot shine before the light of the universe. Let's go, folks. The Father of light, and on this account their light hath been hidden from them. What light has been hidden from them? What, the 2 Negroes? Where? The ones on either side praying over Adam who had just died. Please forgive him, Lord. Who are those 2 Negroes doing that? The light. And why don't they have light? Because they don't shine, so it's been taken away. I don't know what to tell y'all. What y'all doing? Y'all ain't paying attention? Y'all ain't paying attention? Come on, man. What you think they hid these books for? I have 7 pages left. And in literally the second book, on the 32nd page of 40, that's when Negroes come into play. And we should not wonder that this is being hidden for that purpose. This is almost an insult. Oh, let me finish this up. Now, while Seth was saying this to his mother, lo, an angel blew the trumpet, and there stood up all the angels, and they were lying on their faces, and they cried aloud in an awful voice, and said, Blessed be the glory of the Lord from the works of his making, for he hath pitied Adam, the creature of his hands. But when the angels had said these words, lo, there came one of the seraphim with 6 wings, and snatched up Adam, and carried him off to the Ashurisan lake, and was washed him there thrice in the presence of God. I'm just going to keep going on that. And God said to him, Adam, what hast thou done? If thou hadst kept my commandment, there would now be no rejoicing among those who are bringing thee down to this place. Yet I will tell thee that I will turn their joy to grief, and thy grief will I turn to joy. And I will transform thee to thy former glory, and set thee on the throne of thy deceiver. But he shall be cast into this place to see thee sitting above him. Then he shall be condemned, and they that heard him, and he shall be grieved sore when he seeth thee sitting on his honorable throne. Well, who could have known? So, in this respect, we have the Creator addressing what seems to be three people, three individuals. Those taking Adam to where his resting place is. There were those that are rejoiceful as to his passing, and then Satan himself. Adam also, in the reflective sense, what have you done? So the promise, after being washed three times in this river, and remember, we have all sorts of parallels in the folks being doused in rivers. Remember that they didn't want this information out. How do we know this doesn't account for every death that occurs? That's what we must. That's what we must be mindful of. But most importantly, it gives the promise that Adam will be forgiven. So the prayers of the angels who begged God to forgive, who stopped throwing Adam out of the garden. These angels who begged God to let Adam take out some seed. These angels who prayed over Adam's body, begging God to forgive him. Obviously, it worked. God said, "You know what? I'll give him a break. It's all over. After it's all said and done, fine. You know what I'll do? Because I know what happened. This is the Creator. I know what happened. I saw. I know." This one's going to pay dearly. You're going to watch as he sits where you sat, and you are going to be relegated to where he's at. And that's that, and that. Scat. And they hid this from us. They didn't want us to see this because it gives us hope outside of the control of the Edomites that infected this kind of religious wanting. I mean, they infected this nonsense. They took, you can infect by denying, you can infect by adding, and by denying, they allowed an infection of lie and deceit and omission to take place in our minds. And that you've just known that there was hope from the very beginning. I want you to understand there was hope from the very beginning. They'll tell you that. They tell you, yeah, we'll see. No. Let's continue. I'll finish it up. I'll relax. You love it. You know. All right, here we go. And he stayed there 3 hours lying down. And thereafter, the Father of all, sitting on his holy throne, stretched out his hand and took Adam and handed him over to the archangel Michael, saying, "Lift him up into the paradise, into the third heaven, and leave him there until that fearful day of reckoning, which I will make in the world." Then Michael took Adam and left him where God told him. So, what do we ascertain there? In other areas of scriptures, we talk about different levels of heaven. There are levels of heaven. There are different dimensions. This is actually being factored out in current times. The break of truth is coming from both directions. You have to be mindful of your sources. But this source, the scriptural source, tells you, obviously, there are levels to this. Store Adam on the third level till I get to him. He's been washed. I've decreed what's going to happen. Folks know it, right? Everybody wrote that down. Mike, get that, take that up there, put it in storage. I'll get to it. Boom. You got to put it in practical terms. Let's see. All right. Next page. Also notice that he stayed there 3 hours, lying down. That's where Adam stayed for 3 hours. That's interesting. That's time frame's got to be interesting. Here we go. Chapter, which looks to be 49. But after, I don't know if it is. No, I don't know. I think it's 49. But I don't know. But after all this, the archangel asked concerning the laying out of the remains. And God commanded that all the angels should assemble in his presence, each in his order. And all the angels assembled, some having censers in their hands, and others trumpets. And lo, the Lord of hosts came on, and four winds drew him, and cherubim mounted on the winds, and the angels from heaven escorting him. And they came on the earth. There was the body of Adam. And they came to paradise, and all the leaves of paradise were stirred, so that all men begotten of Adam slept from the fragrance, save Seth alone, because he was born according to the appointment of God. Then Adam's body lay there in paradise on earth, and Seth grieved exceedingly for over him. Take note, folks. Who's in charge? The Creator put the entire earth to sleep over just using a fragrance. The escort of Adam from one place to another was like a procession. Only one was left conscious, and that was the one that was decreed to come into existence by God because of the loss of Abel. And he sat and he mourned the loss of Adam, while the earth was put asleep by the Most High through fragrance. I fully believe that when the Creator gets here with the kingdom, this entire earth is going to come correct. He's going to get your attention, and he's going, it's going to be really bad. You're going to think all of the people on the planet are going to be affected, and y'all going to mind somebody. I'll get into that later. Let's continue. Then God spake to the archangels Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, 4 of them. Go away to paradise in the third heaven and strew linen cloths, and cover the body of Adam, and bring oil of the oil of fragrance, and pour it over him. And they acted thus, did the 3 great angels, and they prepared him for burial. And God said, let the body of Abel also be brought. And they brought other linen clothes and prepared his body also. For he was unburied since the day when Cain's brother slew him. For wicked Cain took great pains to conceal him, but could not. For the earth would not receive him. For the body sprang up from the earth, and a voice went out of the earth, saying, I will not receive a companion body, till the earth which was taken and fashioned in me cometh to me. At that time the angels took it and placed it on a rock till Adam his father was buried. And both were buried according to the commandments of God in the spot where God found the dust, and he caused the place to be dug for 2. And God sent 7 angels to paradise, and they brought many fragrant spices and placed them in the earth, and they took the 2 bodies and placed them in the spot which they had digged and builded. Wow. Now, folks, that's a lot of information. That's information they'd rather you not think about. They don't want to give you too much to think about. You know what I mean? But man, oh man, the rituals, the doings, the confirmations. I mean, it's almost too much in that to unpack. I mean, there's so much that was done. The fact that Abel's body would not be received by the earth, the fact that it did not decompose, did not decay, the fact that it was kept in some sort of stasis for the amount of time it took for Adam to perish, and then was taken and done with what they're doing now. Folks, we needed to know this. Everybody needs to know this. Let's continue. And God called and said, Adam, Adam. And the body answered from the earth and said, Here I am, Lord. And God said to him, I told thee that earth thou art, and to earth thou shalt return. Again I promised thee the resurrection. I will raise thee up in the resurrection, every man who is of thy seed. Nice, short, sweet, final. You know what? Hold on. Adam, what? Just raise it. I just want to let you know. Here I am. What's up? Okay, I just want to let you know. Final, check and balance. I told you that the earth, dust you are, the dust you shall be. But again, just because I want you to clarify, I want you to know, I promised to thee a resurrection. Okay, I'm going to resurrect you. Okay, I will raise you up in the resurrection with every man who is of thy seed. I just want to tell you that. Okay, you got that? Shouldn't have screwed up. This is interesting. What a short, sweet confirmation of what he intends to do. All right. Chapter, whatever that is. After these words, God made a seal and sealed the tomb, that no one might do anything to him for 6 days till his rib should return to him. Oh, so we know that Eve was going to die 6 days later. Good enough. Then the Lord and his angels went to their place, and Eve also, when the 6 days were fulfilled, fell asleep. But while she was living, she wept bitterly about Adam's falling on sleep, for she knew not where he was laid. For when the Lord came to paradise to bury Adam, she was asleep, and her sons too, except Seth, till he bade Adam be prepared for burial. And no man knew on earth except her son Seth. And Eve prayed in the hour of her death, that she might be buried in the place where her husband was. And after she had finished her prayer, she said, Lord, Master God of all rule, estrange me not from thy handmaid
from the body of Adam? For from him, from his members didst thou make me, but deem me worthy, even me unworthy, that I am a sinner, to enter into his tabernacle, even as I was with him in paradise, both without separation from each other, just as in our transgressions we were both led astray and transgressed thy command, but they were not separated. Even so, Lord, do not separate us now. But after she had prayed, and she gazed heavenward, and groaned aloud, and smote her breast, and said, God of all, receive my spirit. And straightway she delivered up her spirit to God.
Okay, so 6 days later, Eve met the same end, prayed that she might be buried next to her husband as they were together for so long. Also pointed out that they had been deceived. You know, I worship a God of logic and reason. I worship a God that you can talk to. I worship a God you can talk to. And it's obvious through this. And you have to understand the Greco-Roman Catholicism heathens that took over our true worship and hijacked it, making Christianity and these other bastardized versions of what we do, what we were supposed to do. It's an interesting insight to understand how logical the Creator is. They made God someone unapproachable only through their white asses. Sorry, I had to go there. But in fact, the God that we serve is extremely approachable and reasonable. You're able to talk to God. Why do you think He invites you to prayer? Okay. Like, subscribe, share. I had to.
Oh, and next page. And Michael came and taught Seth how to prepare Eve for burial. And there came the angels, and they buried her body where Adam's body was and Abel's. And thereafter Michael spake to Seth and said, Lay out in this wise every man that dieth till the day of resurrection. And after giving him this rule, he said to him, Mourn not beyond 6 days, but on the seventh day rest and rejoice on it, because on that very day God rejoiceth, yea, and we angels too, with the righteous soul who has passed away from the earth. Even thus spake the angel, and ascended into heaven, glorifying God, and saying, Alleluia. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord, in the glory of God the Father, for to him it is meet to give glory, honor, and worship, and the eternal life-giving Spirit, now and always and forever. Amen. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, to whom be glory and power forever and ever. Amen. Then the angel Joel glorified God, saying, Holy, 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 heaven and earth are full of thy glory.
Very, very interesting. An interesting read. I've got to tell you, one of the most interesting reads I've had in a while. A lot of insights into some missing pieces of the puzzle that they tried to maintain hidden from the eyes of Negroes who deserve to know this because it's our history book. We are the descendants of Adam, in my best estimation and guess, and that's just me going through the scriptures. Don't put it to the test. Now, I did tell you, and I'm going to honor what I said. Thank you so much for being here and listening to what I've read. I have some other resources, other books that are available. That particular PDF, the Book of Adam and Eve, also available to you. I can send it to you. But I like that you get in bulk. Okay, if you are so inclined to want to know, what I read and what I teach and what I try to edify, all you got to do is email me, and I will send you a copy of the list. I will tell you one particular uh, book that has me very curious about presenting it, and it might be the next one I do. This one is just made for me and you. Isn't this something? Caesar's Messiah, the Roman conspiracy to invent Jesus. This is probably going to be my next reading, my next series of educational. It's 357 pages. And I think it's going to divide
and conquer some notions that we've been taught regarding Jesus, not our Yeshua or Yesh, however we're meant to say it. But I'm going to go forward a little bit. That's one possibility. I have several possibilities. I got quite a few. Let me give you some other possibilities that might interest you. Oh, this got my attention. 165 pages, the Reconstruction era, the era of Reconstruction, 1861 to 1900. I try not to look back too far, but this is interesting reading. 165 pages. The intent is to educate through information, facts, and not obfuscate with lies, all of that nonsense. I'm going to go through various topics, not simply those associated with our Hebrewism, but our experiences here, which coalesce with why we need to prepare our exit. Well, that's it. I did the reading. I think the second book on the in that series is went well. You're going to see me here. I've got other ideas, other ways and things I'm going to be talking about. I don't know about doing Negro news. I don't have it set up to do Negro news, but this device allows me to do this quite well. Please like, subscribe, and share this. We went over the books of Adam and Eve. I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to hope that you support this. Oh yeah, I did want to tell you, now that I am doing this full time, and I am doing this full time, it's not a ministry. It's more of an education. It's more of a teaching. I fancy myself able to teach. Since I am doing this full time and supporting myself by giving away free phones, I do need your support. I do need your assistance. Not in supporting me fully, but my brakes are off, and I got to do the brakes. So look, you folks know how much brakes cost on 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, about $300. And I'm not ashamed no more. I'm asking for assistance because I'm gonna be here every day in front of you if I can. So please use what you see here. If I put it here, okay? I would love for you to support this effort. Look down there, right there. Put a $sign, The Doug Rice Show. And for God's sake, let the generosity flow. I'm just joking. You guys give with your heart. Please support this effort. I think I'm gonna be able to teach you something. I think you can learn something. I have a way of at least putting things in a different perspective. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share. And there it is there. My goodness, an hour and 42 minutes. You folks have a good day. I'm back. This is the Doug Rice Show. And I gots to go. You know. Cue the music.